Okay, so in today's video, we are going to go over the community edition for CATIA Magic. So we have this news post here on the community. You can also find it on LinkedIn. Additionally, if you just search for CATIA Magic Community Edition, you will come up to this video here. I'm sorry, this web page here, and it tells you pretty much everything you need to know. So if we go down to the instructions, we can get started. Um, it is, it does have our textual notation and graphical in the same tool. It's totally free. It is 100% conformant to the SysML v2 specification. It is SysML v2 only, so you won't be doing SysML v1 on it. And it is up to 500 major elements. This is actually pretty ideal. I do a 3-day SysML v2 training, and we do not get up to 500 major elements, so this is no problem. We'll test this out a little bit later as well. But the best part is it's free of charge, so you can use it um, in your you can use it for YouTube videos, tutorials, conferences, things that you need to access it for. If you want to learn SysML 2 or teach it, record YouTube videos, write papers, or do scientific work, you can do all of that. Okay, so now we are at the instructions, and so we just go to software.3ds.com, create an account if you don't have one. I already have an account. So I'm just going to go to free downloads, and then I can go to the CATIA Magic software, and there should be, yes, okay, the CATIA Magic Community Edition is right here. So just like the instructions say, you want to download this first one if you want to do Windows, second one for Mac. Okay, so once you install that, you do need to update the Java arg line, just as we're showing here. So I have already installed this, but I will just go ahead and I will delete my installation real quick. Like, let's see, yes. So I'm gonna save this folder, but I'll delete everything in the folder, and so this will get rid of it. It's a soft delete, so some things are still in the back, but in the app data. So don't recommend deleting it this way. You should do a formal uninstall, but um, it's okay for me. So now we will select yes, and you saw I ran this as administrator, so you may need administrator privileges because it's going to point to Java on your computer and things like that, and change some global variables. But there are workarounds if you want to install it somewhere else. Maybe somewhere that you don't need administrative privileges for, or you're not blocked from your company, such as on the desktop. Then that's a great place to install it. I'm going to skip ahead. Okay, now we are done with the one part of the loading installation instructions. So now let's walk through this. We're going to go next, next. We're going to use automatic, and I like to have mine all in my E drive. And I'm going to put it back in that same folder. Hit next, and then I already have icons, so I'm selecting do not create. But if you want to create a new, if you're just doing a blanket install, just use the defaults. Okay, and now we're going to install, and again, I'm going to jump ahead so we don't have to watch it load. Okay, now it's done. I'm not going to start uh, MSOSA just yet. MSOSA meaning Magic System of Systems Architect, because we have to change some Java arg lines. So let's go over to the correct spot, which is where we installed it. And we're going to open up this properties file. Okay. And in this properties file, we need to add this line. And we need to be very careful that we do this correctly. So we can find any place here, put a space. So you need to have space on both sides of it. And then you want to make sure that you can save it. See, mine is open as administrator, which means I can save. If you don't save, sometimes in Windows 11, you could press the save button and it'll look like it saved, but it didn't truly save if this is in a place where you don't have administrator access. So make sure you run it as administrator so that you don't have any issues. Okay, now we should be able to just open up the model, but let's go through the instructions, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yep, okay, so let's go back to the bin and we'll go ahead and run it. Okay, it has opened. And now the first thing it says, to use SysML v2 community mode, install the SysML v2 plugin. So this has skipped some steps, probably because I had it read some things in the configuration file. So we're going to try to undo this so that you can see the proper way. Okay, so I've cleared my cache, or really I changed where my cache is. So if you have any issues because you already have a version of 26x hotfix 1 installed at some point, uh, just clear your cache and you won't have any issues. And your installation will be exactly the same as ours. Clearing your cache means going into the local app data and just removing that version. So anyways, I am going to go ahead and use default. I don't want to import anything because that's what I'm trying to get away from. And now you will get a screen just like this. And you will select Use in Community Mode. Okay, then a license agreement will pop up. Make sure you read through this, but it's pretty open. Like we said, you can use it for learning, teaching, recording videos, papers, scientific work. It just has a few limitations that aren't in the others. So here we go. We're going to select SysML Expert and hit continue. And then it's going to give you the pop-up to use SysML v2 Community Edition, install the plugin. So I'm going to click install. Then this will pop up. It already has it selected. This is the one we want. Migration and evaluation do not come with this free plugin. So now we hit download and install. And it is installing the resource. And once it's done, it notifies you that we need to restart. So I hit OK, I hit close, and then we have some pop-ups like, do you want to share your analytics? You can select share or don't share, close the program out, and then I'm going to open it right back up. Okay, once it's reopened, you should have access to these SysML v2 sample models now. So we could open up the simple vehicle model if you're not familiar with this model. This is the model from the Appendix A of the SysML v2 specification. So it shows you how the authors intend you to model just in a simple example. Okay, now that it's open, it will warn you that there's a limit of 500 elements, and this model is larger than 500 elements. So the first thing you notice is everything is grayed out. So you can't edit this model at all. But you can still review the model. You can go through, you can take a look at the parts interconnect and things like this. You can't open the text editor and view anything until you have less than 500 elements. So, for example, if we wanted to do that, we could just create a new project really quick. So I hit File, New, SysMLv2, and we're just going to call this Untitled 1 for now. And then we'll switch to the SysMLv2 perspective, yes. Okay, so just one more thing to say about this. Um, if we wanted to be able to view everything, we would need to delete everything but 500 elements. And the way you can tell how many elements you have is to go into Tools and Project Statistics, and it's the number of essential project elements. So this is calculating, and it will give you a number when it's done. So we can see we're quite a bit above the limit in this model, but this is supposed to be an example of a full model. It's not particularly large, but larger than you would build in a single training. And so we have 1200 elements. So what we could do, and I don't suggest you doing this because you want to make sure that you don't mess up any project files. But if we wanted to be able to edit some things, let's just go here. So now you'll see everything has popped open, and we're able to now go and view the text editor because we're under 500 model elements. So I wanted to be able to show this to you so that you didn't, so that you had an understanding that you would still be able to edit your models after you got to 500 model elements. Okay, so that's a look at that. So now, if we wanted to go into a new model, we could do so. We can create a general view. We could create elements by dragging them onto the screen. We could connect these elements together if we wanted to, and we could take a look at the textual notation for these and stuff like that. And you can manipulate the model just like you can in the full version. Okay, so we can go and we can find these in the containment window. Additionally, if I click over here, it will highlight it over here. If I click on these connectors, it will highlight these connectors. And you have the functionality like this. So I'm pressing F1, and then I just searched for font, and so I said increase font size. So you could do that. So you can just, once you do it one time, you can go F1, enter, F1, enter, and that'll increase your font size. So you have, what I'm trying to show here is you have a bunch of different ways that you can edit the model just like you were able to in the full version. So now let's talk about some limitations. So you cannot create any tables. So notice the tabular views are not there. You are limited to 500 characters, or I'm sorry, 500 model elements. And then the other one is there's no model evaluation. So we can't do any evaluation on these models. But other than that, um, it's totally free to use. and you do have access to our sample models. Let me go ahead and go back on this so that we have our full model again, and it's giving us the warning because we've exceeded the maximum. And let's take a look at one of the other models that we have access to. So we can do the feature overview. We also have a language overview. So here is an example of like creating different styles and things like this. Um, in this version, and then if we go into the other sample, the language overview, it is more similar to the simple vehicle model where it breaks down parts of the language and gives you examples for each part. So here, as you can see, this one has also exceeded the limit, but we're able to see different examples of actions with swim lanes, um, such as this model. We can see interconnections with different flows and things like this. And you can just play around with these. You can see examples of individuals, etc. Additionally, we have the SysML v2 book that is being published. So this is being worked on. We have some samples from Tim Wilkins that are included in Vince. Or I'm sorry, I said that wrong, Vince. Both are experts in SysML v2 and are helping mold the language. And so they're writing this wonderful book and they're providing us with the ability to share some examples from their book in our tools. So please take a look at this as well, like verification cases and other things. Okay, so hopefully you were able to get everything installed. Let me know if you have any questions or other challenges about the community edition, and feel free to share examples of what you've done with the community edition. We'd love to hear more about it. Thanks, everyone.